Hello there, my dear listener. It's so lovely to have you here with me tonight. Take a deep breath, just like that. Yes, in through your nose, and slowly out through your mouth. I've lit a candle for us. Can you hear it flicker in the hush? You're safe here. No matter how your day has been, or how loud the world outside feels, right now, in this moment, all of that can gently fade away. Before we begin tonight's journey through time, let me gently remind you to click the like button if this story helps you feel calm. And if you'd like to travel with me through many more echoes of history, I invite you to subscribe and ring that little bell so you'll always know when our next tale is ready. And if you'd like to share something with me tonight, tell me in the comments. If you were living in medieval times, who would you have been? A wandering minstrel? A healer in the woods? A knight squire? Gently whispered from your imagination. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Now, let the hush settle around you like a woolen cloak. Loosen your jaw. Let your shoulders soften. And allow your body to become heavy and still. Sink deeper into your pillow and come with me to a land of dust, of pilgrims, of swords glinting in the noonday sun, and prayers whispered toward the heavens. Our story tonight begins on a morning so bright it makes your eyes ache behind your helmet. The year is 1096, and you are 17, and something old or something dry, and holy and unfamiliar. The wind smells like horses. Iron. Your name is Matthew, son of Thomas the baker, born in a little village near Lyon, where flour floated like mist in the morning air, and your only worries were cracked loaves or stolen apples. But now you carry not a sack of bread, but a sword blunt at the edges, yes, but still heavier than anything your arms were ever meant to bear. A red cross is stitched onto your woolen tunic, and a small wooden crucifix presses against your chest, tied with leather cord. You don't really know how to fight. Few of the pilgrims do, but the priest blessed you. The bishop said this path would cleanse your soul, that to take back Jerusalem was not war, but salvation. And so you march, you and thousands of others, men with boots worn thin, women with rosaries clutched in trembling hands, children riding on carts pulled by oxen. All of you, eastward, always eastward, following the sun toward a city none of you have ever seen. The ground is dry beneath your feet, and the road stretches endlessly ahead, winding between forests, rivers, and far-off hills that shimmer in the heat. Sometimes you sing simple hymns passed from one voice to the next like water in cupped hands. Sometimes you walk in silence, save for the creak of leather and the thud of saws. And sometimes there are screams in the night, bandits, wolves, fear. You remember the first time you saw a man die. It was near a town in the Rhineland. A brawl broke out over dried meat. One blow too many, and a boy no older than you fell into the dust and never rose. There was no burial, only a muttered prayer, and onward the crowd moved. Still, in your pocket, you keep two things. A splinter of wood your village priest swore came from the true cross, and a tiny rock, smooth and gray, from the riverside behind your old home. You rub it between your thumb and forefinger when sleep won't come, when your feet are blistered and bloodied, when the air smells of sweat and ash and dread. There are brief moments of beauty, though. A field of poppies blooming wild near the Danube, the taste of fresh goat cheese in a monastery in Hungary, The kindness of a woman in a stone cottage who pressed a warm bowl of lentil soup into your palms without a word. You remember those moments because they keep the fire lit in your chest, a quiet ember of hope. As summer turns to autumn, the journey becomes harder. Food grows scarce. Fever whispers through the camps like a ghost, and sometimes you wake to find the man beside you gone cold. But you press on. Every mile, every ache, every wound and prayer feels like it must surely count for something. And still, Jerusalem remains only a name, a promise, a place etched into your dreams by holy men, by stories told over flickering candles. You don't know what you'll find there. You barely know why you're going, but something, perhaps faith, perhaps fear, perhaps the sheer impossibility of turning back, carries your feet forward. One evening, as the sky blushes with dusk, you stop at a ridge overlooking a valley of olive trees. Your legs are weak, but your heart is quiet. The priest beside you, Father Jean, murmurs something in Latin. You don't understand the words, but they feel like home. And for a moment, just a moment, the world feels still, as if all of time has paused to let you breathe. Welcome back, beloved traveler. Let's gently step forward, exactly where we left off, on that ridge, dusk painting the sky in rose and violet. Feel your weight settle into the earth beneath you. The world around you is hushed. Crickets begin their soft symphony, and Father Jean's prayers drift like incense on the wind. You listen to your own heartbeat, slow, steady, feeling each breath like a gentle tide. Now, let us continue. As darkness settles, the camp below kindles with 1,000 tiny flames, torches bobbing in the distance, lanterns glowing like the lantern of a firefly. And in the center, a great hearth where embers glow bright, warming weary bodies. You join the circle around the fire, sliding onto a log softened by centuries of use. The crackle warms your face. You draw your knees close and let the smoke wreath around you like a protective veil. A veteran knight, Sir Roland, sits across from you. His armor bears the scars of battles you can only imagine. He dips a piece of stale bread into a bowl of thin broth, and his voice is low and measured, like a distant storm rolling in. Tomorrow, he says, we will cross the Jordan, and then Jerusalem is not far. Your pulse quickens at the name, Jerusalem, a syllable breathed by millions before you, a place holy, feared, dreamt of. The knight says no more. Instead, he rests his head against the rough bark of an oak, and soon his breathing falls into a slow rhythm. You close your eyes, following his lead, and dream. You dream of alabaster gates, of spires reaching toward sapphire skies, of bells tolling like gentle echoes through marble halls. But the dream always slips away. Dawn finds you shivering in a thin cloak. The horizon glows pale gold. You rise, brushing dew from your sleeves, feeling the earth taste of promise. The river Jordan lies before you, its waters clear yet swift, a ribbon of silver winding through arid plains. Pilgrims gather at the ford, wading in with slow reverence. You step forward. The water is cool against your boots, shockingly cold, but somehow cleansing. You let it rise around your calves, your knees, and when it reaches your waist, you pause, breath catching, closing your eyes. You think of your village by lion, of your mother's lullabies, of all the mornings you never imagined walking through sacred waters. And you whisper a prayer you learned as a child, By the time your feet touch solid ground again, the sun has climbed higher. You are part of a river no longer of water, but of people, thousands crossing into a new chapter of their lives. Soon, the desert air closes in. Heat shimmers off stones bleached by the sun for 1,000 years. Cactus flowers drift in the wind like ghosts of a world untouched. You walk through the valley of Elah, where David once quelled Goliath. And though you can hardly raise your sword, your heart stirs with the echo of songs long sung by pilgrims. At midday, you rest beneath a solitary palm. The shade offers fleeting refuge. You sip sour wine from a leather pouch and nibble on salted goat cheese that crumbles on your tongue. Every bite tastes of triumph and desperation. History itself seems to pulse within each granule of salt. Once, a merchant passed by, his camel laden with spices from the east. Saffron so vivid it seemed to glow, cardamom that scented the air like warm earth, and cinnamon that whispered of distant forests. He offered you a pinch in a folded cloth. You held it in your palm, dark red threads, and as you tasted the faint sweetness, a single tear slid down your cheek. Not of sorrow, but of wonder. You tucked the cloth into your belt, a treasure to carry the memory of that day. As evening nears, the landscape shifts again. Olive groves, ancient stones, and walls rising on the horizon. Jerusalem stands before you, half seen through the haze, its towers like silent sentinels watching your approach. A hush falls over the procession. Pilgrims fall to their knees. Faces turn toward the city, tears spilling freely in the cooling air. You kneel too, fixing your gaze on the distant spires, the dome of the rock glinting like burnished brass. The Church of the Holy Sepulchre, rising in solemn grace, all of it crowned by the rosy light of dusk. You press your palm against the hard earth, feel its ancient pulse, and in that moment you understand. This journey was never about battles or glory. It was about something deeper, a longing to touch the sacred, to walk where prophets once tread, to bring your own breath, your own prayers, into the heart of a dream older than time. As night falls, torches flare along the city walls. A murmuring tide of lantern light washes over narrow streets. You rise slowly, drawn forward by invisible threads. Your sword at your side, but your spirit lighter than ever before. Around you, pilgrims embrace one another. Some weep in relief, others laugh in disbelief. A hush of wonder hums in the air, and you step forward, one careful, reverent step. Soon you pass beneath the gate, stones groaning beneath centuries of footsteps. The air shifts, richer now, laced with incense and garden blooms. Inside, life teems in the twilight, merchants haggling in shaded bazaars, monks chanting in hidden courtyards, children chasing rabbits among the olive trees. You walk slowly, every stone, every arch, every distant bell toll, filling your senses like a lover's whispers. Tonight, dear friend, you rest within the holy city you have longed for. The candle beside your cot flickers low, and you close your eyes, your body at last unburdened. Feel the stillness cradle you. Let your heart drift on the promise of dawn. Because tomorrow, you will wake as someone changed, carrying the hush of this night forever in your bones. Welcome back, gentle soul. Let us continue your pilgrimage, each step a soft whisper on the stones of history. You awaken before dawn, when the world is still heavy with dreams. A single oil lamp glows by your bedside, its flame trembling like a whisper in the dark. Your body feels both alive and utterly weightless, as if the journey's burdens have melted away in sleep. Outside, the distant call to prayer drifts through the cool air, low and resonant. You slide from your cot, bare feet touching the rough-hewn floor. The lamp's warmth trails your shadow along the stone wall as you head toward the window, where the morning sky softly brightens. The air tastes of jasmine and candied figs, and the hush before the city stirs makes your heart flutter with anticipation. Stepping into your robes, you tuck your treasured spice pouch safely beneath your tunic. You carry with you the memory of saffron's warmth on your tongue, a reminder of wonder. In one hand, you hold your crucifix. In the other, the smooth gray river stone from Lion, grounding you at home. Outside your door, pilgrims have already gathered in the courtyard. Some sit cross-legged on woven mats, heads bowed in silent prayer. Others stretch sleep-heavy limbs, rubbing eyes and murmuring greetings. The soft rustle of cloth and the murmur of distant voices form a gentle current of life. A narrow path of flagstones leads you through an arched portal into the hushed streets. Moonlight still clings faintly to the tops of domes and spires, but the first pink blush of sunrise unfolds behind them. You breathe deeply, filling your lungs with the crisp promise of morning. Ahead lies the Church of the Holy Sepulchre, the Sacred Heart of Pilgrimage, where Christians believe Christ was crucified, buried, and rose again. Its massive doors are engraved with crosses and crowned by carved angels, silent watchers immortalized in stone. Your footsteps echo as you approach, each one a prayer you did not know your lips could form. Inside, the air is thick with incense. Wisps of smoke curl around pillars like drifting echoes of ancient chants. Flickering candles line stone alcoves, their flames a trembling host of tiny stars in the dim interior. Your eyes take a moment to adjust, savoring the hush between the whispers of priests and pilgrims alike. You move in a slow circle, following the flow of people drawn toward each holy site. First, the Chapel of Calvary, where a rough slab of rock marks the place of crucifixion. You kneel, pressing your fingers against the cool stone, feeling the centuries of tears, of sorrow, of hope pressed into its grains. A single tear escapes down your cheek, soft and warm, and you close your eyes against the weight of its meaning. Rising, you drift toward the rotunda, where a small marble shrine holds the tomb itself. Its door is low, requiring each pilgrim to bow deeply, a gesture of humility and reverence. You step forward, head bowed, and enter the narrow chamber. Within, the air is still, almost reverent in its hush. The stone slab where the body of Christ is said to have lain feels impossibly smooth beneath your palm, a living echo of resurrection carried in cold marble. A beam of sunrise filters through a high window, casting gold upon ancient stone. For a heartbeat, you feel the weight of all the prayers this place has known. Mothers seeking mercy, soldiers seeking courage, the faithful seeking solace. And in that golden light, you sense your own prayer taking shape in your chest. May my heart remain soft, my spirit remain open, and my footsteps remain gentle on the earth. Outside again, you pause to rest on a worn bench beneath an olive tree in the church's courtyard. Its silvery leaves shimmer in the morning breeze. Warmth seeps into your bones, and you close your eyes for a moment, letting gratitude swell like a tide. Soon, a kindly monk appears, offering a cup of barley water sweetened with honey. You accept it gratefully, the cool liquid sliding down your throat like a blessing. He says nothing, only smiles with eyes that have seen countless pilgrims come and go. In his silent presence, you feel a kinship that transcends language. Refreshed, you wander next through narrow alleys in the Muslim quarter, where the scents of rosewater and zaitar cling to the morning air. Vendors set out baskets of dates and pomegranate arrows that glisten like rubies in the sun. A young girl presses a slice of fresh watermelon into your hand, its sweetness a surprise you almost weep for. You eat slowly, savoring each cool, juicy bite as if it were manna from heaven. From there, you climb the winding path to the Mount of Olives. Your legs protest, but your spirit lifts with each step. Beneath your feet, ancient stones slope toward the valley below. At the summit, you stand before a chapel whose walls are scalloped to resemble a stone cave, a place where Christ prayed on the eve of his arrest. You sit on a low bench, gazing across the olive grove that stretches like a silver sea. The city glitters in the distance, its domes and towers soft in the haze of afternoon. You run your fingers along the grain of the wood, letting its rough warmth remind you of life's simple truths. How small you are, yes, yet how vast the love that carried you here. Time drifts in shimmering waves. Clouds scuttle across the sky, casting dappled shadows on the ground. You find yourself humming that hymn you sang on the march, a melody that has carried you through dust and fever and doubt. As daylight wanes, you make your way back toward the city gates, slipping into the gentle throng of pilgrims returning to rest. The evening breeze is soft against your skin. Lamps and candles glow behind windows, their light warm as a familiar embrace. At a simple stone guest house, you settle onto a narrow cot in a dim chamber. The mattress is straw-stuffed, and the blanket rough, but you feel cradled by the world itself. You close your eyes, and in the hush, you hear the distant toll of a bell, a lullaby woven through centuries, calling you to rest. Before sleep claims you, you press the smooth gray stone from lion against your palm, a reminder of where you began. And then your hand drifts to the splinter of the true cross against your chest, a touchstone of faith, of hope, of the unknown paths ahead. In the soft embrace of night, you whisper your thanks for the journey, for the stones, for the city, and for yourself, for bearing each step along this pilgrimage of the heart. And as you drift into dreams, imagine tomorrow's sunrise. What new wonders might bloom at the touch of light? What new prayers might stir in the hush of dawn? Sleep now, gentle traveler. Let history cradle you in its ancient arms, because when you awaken, we will continue onward, deeper into the story of your life in Jerusalem. Welcome back, gentle pilgrim. Feel the weight of the night's rest still soft around your shoulders. Let your breath settle, your mind quiet, and we will continue step by soft step through your days in Jerusalem. Morning light seeps through the narrow window slats of your chamber, painting amber ribbons on the stone floor. You stretch slowly, every muscle still tingling from yesterday's climb. Outside, a distant bell tolls slow and solemn as if calling you by name. You rise, brushing sleep from your hair, and slip into your tunic, feeling the coarse wool cool against your skin. In the courtyard below, lanterns have been replaced by torch bowls whose flames dance in the gentle breeze. Pilgrims wander like drifting petals, each on their own silent quest. You join them, savoring the hush before the day unfurls fully. First, you wander back to the Church of the Holy Sepulchre. Today, it feels different, less solemn, more alive. Sunlight filters through high windows, casting rainbows on the stone floor where you kneel and trace the patterns with your eyes. A choir's distant chant rises and falls with the wind, and your chest swells with a quiet joy. You move on to a narrow side passage you discovered yesterday, its walls worn smooth by footsteps. Here, a small fresco peeks from chipped plaster, a faint image of Christ's crown of thorns. You press your forehead against the cool wall, closing your eyes and letting the centuries whisper around you. By mid-morning, you find yourself drawn toward the Muslim quarter, where the rhythm of life beats gently yet persistently. The air is sweet with roasting coffee beans, and the call of vendors floats like a lullaby. Pistachio baklava, fresh this morning. Dates like honey, pomegranates like rubies. You pause at a stall woven from reeds, where a kind woman wraps a handful of warm flatbread in cloth. The bread feels soft in your palms, the aroma nutty and comforting. You tear off a piece and taste. The warmth, the slight chew, the whisper of salt. And for a moment, the world narrows to that single morsel, perfect and whole. Continuing on, you slip through a wooden door into a quiet courtyard shaded by fig trees. A friar nods to you, beckoning you closer to a fountain. The water sighs as it spills over smooth stones into a shallow basin. You cup your hands, letting the cool liquid glide over your fingers, down your arms, and you breathe in the scent of moss and stone and history. Your path next leads up the Lion's Gate, beyond which lies the Garden of Gethsemane. Under ancient olive trees, you walk through dappled sunlight and shadow. The ground is soft with fallen leaves, and the stones beneath your feet seem to hum with encased prayers. You press a hand against a gnarled trunk, feeling its life pulse slow and steady, ancient, yet enduring. Here, they say, Christ knelt in sorrow and hope. You kneel too, eyes closed, letting the hush of the garden cradle your spirit. Noon arrives gently, with the city's murmur growing like a soft tide. You seek out a small tavern with a chipped wooden sign, a name you cannot quite remember, but whose scent you recognized yesterday. Cumin and coriander tangled in stew. Inside, low benches circle a clay hearth. Steam rises from earthen bowls. The fire's glow kisses your cheeks. You dip stale bread into spiced broth, each bite warming you from within. A traveler beside you raises his cup and offers a slow grin. You nod and sip wine that tastes faintly of pomegranate. Afterward, you step back into the streets, guided by sunbeams that dance upon gold domes. You pass through Christian, Muslim, and Jewish quarters, each a soft current in the tapestry of the city. At a Jewish bookstore, ancient texts stacked on cedar shelves, you run a finger along vellum pages, feeling the fragile weight of knowledge. The keeper slides a tiny scroll toward you, words in Hebrew, inked so finely they seem to float on the page. You hold it reverently and place it back, knowing some treasures are too fragile to carry. Late afternoon brings you to the city walls again, but this time you remain below, tracing patterns in whitewashed stone. Children dart in and out of shadows, their laughter bright as bells. An old man smokes a hookah beneath a grapevine trellis, offering you a puff of mint-scented smoke that curls around your senses. You close your eyes, letting its sweetness drift through your mind like a soft memory. As dusk nears, you find yourself drawn to the Pool of Bethesda, once said to have healing waters. The pool glitters in twilight, its surface a mirror of soft pink and lavender skies. You slip off your sandals and wade in, the water cool around your ankles, then knees. You close your eyes, the gentle lapping against your legs a lullaby against the city's distant hum. And you imagine, just for a moment, the pool's waters rising, lifting your heart with every ripple. Night falls slowly, draping the city in indigo velvet. Lanterns flicker in windows like watchful eyes. From the minaret nearby, a muezzin's call unfurls into the air, its melody tender and yearning. You pause on a rooftop terrace, the breeze like a lover's sigh on your skin. Below, lantern-lit streets ripple with movement. Above, stars begin to glimmer through wisps of cloud. You linger on that rooftop, leaning against the low wall, your spices tucked safely away, your heart soft and full. The world feels vast and intimate all at once. A tapestry woven from countless lives, voices, prayers, and footsteps. When the night grows chill, you descend and return to your guest house, where your cot awaits, straw and rough wool familiar as an old friend. Before sleep embraces you once more, you place a single pomegranate seed on your pillow, a promise of sweetness to come. You press it gently, and in the faint russet glow of the dying lantern, you smile. Close your eyes now, dear pilgrim. Let the hush of Jerusalem's night wrap around you, and drift into dreams carried on ancient wind. Welcome back, gentle traveler. Allow your body to settle into the stillness, and let your mind follow your footsteps once more. We continue at dawn's first light. A pale glow filters through the narrow window cracks of your chamber, coaxing you awake. Your muscles stretch like soft whispers after rest, and you rise slowly, savoring each movement. In the hush before the city stirs, you let your fingers brush your crucifix, feeling its smooth wood and worn edges. You tuck it beneath your tunic, a heartbeat against your chest. Stepping into the courtyard, you inhale the cool morning air. Soft mist rises from the flagstones, curling around torch bowls like gentle ghosts. Pilgrims drift through the haze, their breath visible as tiny puffs each exhale a quiet prayer. On the far side of the yard, you spot Sister Agnes, a kindly nun you met yesterday. Her habit is simple linen dyed the pale gray of dove wings. She offers you a small loaf of barley bread, still warm from the oven. You accept it with gratitude, feeling its gentle weight in your hand. The crust yields under your thumb, releasing a scent of earth and warmth. Together, you walk toward a cluster of wooden stalls where merchants arrange bowls of olives, figs, and dried apricots. Their colors deep green, dusky purple, sun-baked orange are jewels against woven cloth. A silent exchange of gold coins, a nod, a gentle smile, and you tuck a handful of plump olives into your pouch. Your path leads you next to a small chapel dedicated to Saint Anne, whose gentle presence draws mothers and children alike. The door is carved from olive wood, its grain like rippling water. Inside, the air is cool and redolent of frankincense. Soft beams of light sift through a rose-shaped window, illuminating dust motes that drift like tiny lanterns. You kneel on a patchwork rug, its patterns faded by time. Your knees sink into the worn fibers, and an echo of centuries of devotion surrounds you. You close your eyes and trace a silent prayer. May I walk gently among my brothers and sisters. May my footsteps leave no wounds. May my heart remain as open as this holy space. Rising, you drift out into the morning bustle once more. A donkey's bray echoes from the alley beyond, and the scent of spiced porridge drifts on the breeze. You follow the aroma to a low table where a family ladles steaming bowls of barley and lentils. They motion for you to sit. You accept a wooden bowl and a wooden spoon, each stroke of grain in your palm, a reminder of shared humanity. The porridge is thick and savory notes of onion, garlic, and a whisper of thyme. Each bite warms your belly and soothes your spirit like a lullaby in liquid form. The children giggle as they nudge each other, stealing extra sips of broth. Their laughter chimes like bells, and you find yourself smiling without thinking. After the meal, you wander toward the marketplace once more, where a storyteller has gathered a small crowd. Seated on a low stool, he plucks at a lute with nimble fingers, weaving melodies that rise and fall like gentle waves. His voice is soft yet clear, recounting the tale of Saladin and the struggle for Jerusalem. You listen in rapt silence, each phrase a brushstroke painting conflict and compassion. Under an archway, you pause to watch artisans at work leather tanners gently kneading hides, potters shaping clay with tender precision, weavers drawing threads across looms in rhythmic dance. You allow your fingertips to hover just above the leather's grain. The clays chill, the linens weave savoring textures that speak of centuries of craft. By midday, the sun hangs high and heavy. You seek refuge beneath a clump of pomegranate trees in a quiet courtyard. The branches hang low, heavy with crimson fruit that gleams like droplets of ruby. You open one carefully, the seeds spilling into your palm like bright gems, each one a bead of tart sweetness. With each seed you taste, you feel a soft thrill, its tang balancing on your tongue, a reminder of life's vivid edges. A monk approaches, offering an herbal salve pressed from lavender and rosemary. He says it soothes tired feet. You let him apply it to your soles, the cool balm spreading like a silken veil. Your muscles sigh in relief, and you close your eyes against the sun's glare, letting the sense of herb and earth swirl around you. In the afternoon, you venture to the Armenian Quarter, where narrow passageways are alive with the hum of quiet industry. A bell above a small workshop tinkles as you enter. Inside, goldsmiths huddle over filigree, their tools dancing like fireflies against molten metal. You peer through a tiny window, watching as a slender wire of gold is braided into a cross so delicate it seems to hold its breath. You step outside and stroll along the ramparts, where a gentle breeze cools your sweat-dampened tunic. Below, the city unfolds a tapestry woven from tile and stone, wood and cloth, people and prayer. You lean against the crenellated wall, tracing the silhouette of towers against the shifting sky. As dusk approaches, you descend into the valley of Hinnom, where twisted olive trees watch over terraced gardens. You follow a narrow path of flagstones worn smooth by pilgrims' feet, each step whispering beneath you. Lanterns glow along the winding trail, their warm light guiding you toward a small chapel carved into rock. Within, candles flicker in wall-mounted sconces, their glow soft as moth wings. You kneel at a simple altar hewn from stone, resting your hands on its surface. Your fingertips find a shallow groove worn deep by prayerful touch. You press your palm into it, linking your prayer to those of countless souls who came before. A hush enfolds you as you rise. Outside, the sky is a gradient of rose and lavender, each star a promise glimmering in the deepening blue. You breathe in the cool air, tasting its salt and dust, its sweetness and stillness. Making your way back through winding lanes, you pause at a small bakery whose oven door stands open. Inside, flatbreads bake on hot stones, their edges crisping to golden perfection. You slip a fresh loaf beneath your arm, savoring its warmth and the faint scent of sesame seeds. Finally, you return to your guest house, where your cot awaits in the silent chamber. The lantern glows low, casting elongated shadows that dance across the stone walls. You place the loaf of bread on the small wooden table at your bedside, an offering and a comfort. As you disrobe, you let the day's weight slip from your shoulders like petals falling into still water. You press your feet to the cool floor and reach for the herbal salve, massaging it into your ankles and calves, each circle of your thumb a tender caress. Climbing into your cot, you draw the coarse blanket up to your chin. Your heart is quiet, your mind softened by the day's gentle wonders. You close your eyes, recalling the taste of olives and pomegranate, the warmth of hearth and hearthlight, the hush of prayer, and the breeze on the ramparts. In the darkness, you whisper a final prayer, soft as a sigh. Thank you for this city, this day, this journey. May tomorrow bring new light, new kindness, new moments to hold close. And now, drift into sleep, gentle traveler. Let each dream carry you deeper into the echoes of history. Because when you awaken, our story will continue, guiding your heart through the next chapter of life in Jerusalem. Welcome back, kind pilgrim. Feel your breath settle, your body resting into the moment. And let us continue at the soft dawn of a new day in Jerusalem. A pale glow of morning slips through the shutters of the guesthouse window, painting the room in silvery beams. You stretch beneath your coarse blanket, each muscle awakening like a gentle sigh. The world outside is quiet, only the distant coo of doves and the soft murmur of footsteps. You rise and press your hand to the smooth gray stone from Lion, still warm from your pillow, and then to the splinter of the true cross tucked beneath your tunic. Slipping outside, you pause to watch the sun crest the distant hills. Golden slivers peek over rooftops, turning the city's stones to honey. A hush of warmth flows through the streets, coaxing life back into every corner. Today, you plan to visit the Temple Mount, the heart of ancient worship and whispered prayers. You wrap your cloak around your shoulders against the morning chill and set out, each step on the flagstones familiar, yet full of new promise. As you approach the Haram al-Sharif, your ears catch the murmur of prayer from the dome of the rock. Its gilded dome shines like a beacon, reflecting the sky's pale pink light. You pause at the marble steps, smoothing your tunic, and climb slowly, each tread an echo of countless pilgrims before you. At the summit, the marble courtyard spreads wide, cool beneath your sandals. A scent of polished stone mingles with faint incense drifting on the breeze. You walk toward the eastern colonnade, where columns rise on either side like silent sentinels. Their bases worn smooth by centuries of touch, they feel alive beneath your fingertips. Finding a quiet corner, you sit with your back against a column. Your palms rest on your knees, and you close your eyes, letting the subtle hum of devotion wash over you. Inhaling gently, you fill your lungs with the cool morning air, then exhale slowly, letting go of any tension that remains. Opening your eyes, you gaze across the courtyard to the temple's ancient foundation's cracked stones, veined with moss and memory. You kneel, placing your hand upon the cold surface, feeling the heartbeat of history pulsing beneath your palm. It carries the weight of sacrifice, offering, hope, and covenant, a soft song that finds resonance within your own heart. Rising, you drift toward the western wall, where throngs of worshippers press palms against the ancient stones. You join them, slipping a small parchment prayer into a crevice, its edges peeking out like a promise. For a moment, caught between past and present, you place your forehead gently against the stone, closing your eyes and sheltering your whispered words. A gentle breeze stirs the notes in your hand, a message of gratitude, of longing, of peace. When you step back, your shoulders feel lighter, as if the wall itself has granted a quiet benediction. Leaving the Temple Mount, you wander down shaded pathways into the Islamic gardens below, where fig leaves rustle overhead. You follow a trickling stream that feeds a small ornamental pool, its water clear and still. You kneel at the edge, cup your hands, and taste the cool sip it glides over your tongue, pure and refreshing. Nearby, children chase each other with handfuls of fallen bloom's petals, soft as feathers drifting in the breeze. Their laughter rings through the garden like tiny bells, bright and delightful against the hush of greenery. Next, you thread your way through the Souk al-Katanin, the cotton market, where merchants display bolts of cloth in every hue: indigo, saffron, emerald, and rose. A vendor unfurls a length of fine linen, its weave so delicate it seems to glow from within. You let it slip through your fingers, soft as a moth's wing, and the merchant smiles kindly, nodding approval at your appreciation. You tuck a small scrap of cloth into your travel pouch, an insubstantial keepsake of texture and color to remember this fleeting moment. By mid-morning, the sun climbs high, spotlighting the bustling lanes of the bazaar. You steer toward a quiet cafe tucked beneath an arch of vines, where a single lantern swings overhead. A hostess greets you with a nod and guides you to a low wooden table. She pours cardamom-spiced coffee into tiny cups etched with filigree, its steam curling into the air like a warm incense offering. You lift the cup, the rich aroma filling your senses, and sip slowly, each swallow a soft awakening. Bitter and sweet swirl together on your tongue, and you close your eyes, letting the moment linger like a sigh. When you finish, you wander back into the streets, passing mosaic-tiled fountains where water springs from stone lions' mouths. You press your palm beneath one spout, feeling the chill trickle over your skin, and lift droplets to your face, relishing the gentle sting. As afternoon approaches, you trace your steps to a small library in the Christian quarter, its door carved with symbols of the four evangelists. Inside, scrolls and codices line oak shelves, their pages yellowed by age. A monk assists you, showing a manuscript of illuminated Psalms letters gilded and painted with lapis lazuli blues and vermilion reds. You lean close, breath held, marveling at each tiny flourish, each painted vine and creature dancing on the page. The monk offers you a quill and a leaf of fresh parchment. With careful strokes, you copy a single verse each letter formed with deliberate tenderness, a meditation of hand and heart. When you finish, you tuck the new leaf into your pouch, a handwritten prayer to carry forward. Late afternoon light spills through stained glass windows of the Church of St. Anne, casting jeweled patterns on the stone floor. You slip inside and follow the sound of soft chanting to a small alcove, where nuns in pale habits kneel in devotion. You join them, letting the melody cradle you, a gentle wave of sacred sound washing through your spirit. From there, you wander to the Kidron Valley, where craggy rocks slope down to a winding brook. You sit on a stone ledge, legs dangling above the water, and let your fingers skim its surface-cool ribbons dancing across your skin. A shepherd passes by, his flock of goats bleating softly. He pauses, nods to you, and you offer a small piece of barley bread. The goats bleat their thanks as they nibble, and the shepherd's eyes twinkle with shared kindness. As dusk descends, you return to the rooftops above the city's maze. Lanterns ignite one by one, Their glow like fireflies waking in the twilight. You settle on a low parapet, the cool stone pressing against your legs. The city below hums with distant drums, calls to prayer, and the soft murmur of countless lives. Above you, the sky deepens into indigo, and the first stars emerge, tiny beacons of light that have watched over this city for millennia. You close your eyes and let their presence blanket you in calm. When the night grows cool, you descend to your guest house chamber, where a fresh jug of water and a bowl of dates await on the table. You break 2 dates and let their sweetness melt on your tongue, savoring the moment like a sacred poem. Climbing into your straw-filled cot, you pull the blanket close, and your heart feels full brimming with wonder, gratitude, and the soft echoes of the day's gentle wonders. Press your hand once more to the stone and the splinter, dear traveler. Feel the warmth of your own journey pulsing back to you, and let sleep cradle you in its tender embrace. Welcome back, gentle heart. Let your breath soften, your shoulders unclench, and together we'll wander once more through the soft tapestry of your days in Jerusalem. Morning light filters through the narrow window of your chamber, washing the walls in a honeyed glow. You rise with slow intention, stretching each limb as if coaxing out the last dream's residue. Your hand brushes the smooth gray stone and the splinter of the true cross, grounding you before the day's gentle unfolding. Today, you have no grand itinerary, only the simple delight of wandering uncovered streets and secret corners. You slip into your tunic, the wool cool against your skin, and step outside into the courtyard's hush. Torch bowls are ember soft now, their glow fading as dawn's bloom unfurls across the sky. You decide first to visit a garden you spotted yesterday, a hidden oasis behind a pair of unassuming wooden doors. Pushing past the latch, you step into a courtyard thick with jasmine vines, their pale blossoms drifting through the air like soft snow. An old gardener tends a fountain at the center, its tiers carved with vine and leaf. Water spills from each level with a gentle sigh, pooling below in a rippling mirror. You sit on the low stone edge, letting your fingers trace the carved patterns, each groove worn smooth by hands long gone. The gardener offers you a sprig of rosemary. You inhale its crisp scent, feeling clarity bloom in your chest. He smiles with eyes that know the hush of centuries, then returns to his tender ministrations. Rising, you wander deeper into the garden's hidden paths, arches draped in wisteria, stone benches hidden beneath arching olive branches, and beds of lavender humming with bees. The hush here is deeper still, broken only by the gentle rustle of wings and the trickle of water. You close your eyes and lean your cheek against a cool marble wall, letting its memory seep into your bones. When at last you emerge, the sun has climbed higher, and the city's murmur stirs again. You make your way toward a cluster of low-roofed workshops where artisans craft stained glass. Inside, shafts of light pierce colored panes, bathing the room in fractured rainbows. You press your palm against a panel of cobalt and ruby, feeling its cool hardness beneath your fingers. A glassblower, his apron smeared with ash, offers you a small shard of amber glass. You cradle it like a gem, watching sunlight dance through its depths. Next, the scent of fresh bread draws you toward a communal bakery. A line of pilgrims stretches before you, each awaiting the morning's first loaves. As you wait, you chat softly with a young scribe who shares scraps of papyrus as he practices calligraphy. His ink-stained fingers move in graceful arcs, each letter a petal falling on the page. When you reach the counter, the baker presses a round loaf into your hands golden brown, still warm. You break off a wedge. It's crumb soft and yielding, and taste nutty grain and the faint hum of dawn. With food in hand, you wander to the city walls, choosing a quiet stretch where the stones slope gently into wildflowers. You sit, legs dangling over the edge, and tear bread in slow, mindful bites. Below, olive trees sway in the morning breeze, and the valley beyond shimmers in a haze of sunlit dust. You savor each crumb, letting its warmth fill you like a soft embrace. Afterward, curiosity leads you down winding staircases into an underground cistern. A hush of cool darkness greets you as you step inside, lantern in hand. The walls glisten with dripping water, and the air tastes of moss and memory. You follow a narrow gallery carved into the rock, your footsteps echoing softly. At the far end, a pool of still water reflects the lantern's flame, turning it into 1,000 dancing points of light. You sit beside it, watching as drops ripple the surface, each circle expanding outward in gentle waves. Leaving the cistern's hush, you guide your steps to a midday gathering at the courtyard of the Hospitallers. Pilgrims and knights alike have come for a simple meal of vegetable stew and bread. You join the line, and a kind volunteer ladles the stew into your bowl, a savory blend of beans, onions, and greens. You sit at a long wooden table, strangers all around, and share a meal whose flavors speak of compassion and care. As you eat, you listen to the soft clink of bowls and the murmur of gratitude in many tongues. Strengthened, you decide to explore a narrow lane in the Jewish quarter, where small shops sell spices you've never seen. The air here is heady, turmeric bright as sunrise, sumac tart as wind, and fenugreek warm as embers. A shopkeeper holds out a black pod, cracked open to reveal tiny seeds. He calls it black coriander, and you cradle a few seeds in your palm, savoring their aroma earthy, complex, surprising. You tuck the seeds into your pouch, knowing each holds a story of far-off fields and sunlit harvests. With evening approaching, you climb the stairs to the rooftop above a Christian hospice, where a simple wooden bench awaits. From this height, you watch the city transform under the soft blush of dusk. Lanterns ignite one by one, along narrow streets, beside fountain basins and open windows. The sound of a distant lute drifts up, interwoven with calls to prayer and the rustle of late-blooming jasmine. You settle onto the bench, drawing your knees close and wrapping your cloak around yourself. In your lap rests your bread, your pomegranate seeds, your shards of glass, each treasure of the day held gently in your hands. You close your eyes and let the mosaic of experiences settle into your heart. Each color, each scent, each whisper of sound weaving into the soft fabric of your memory. Night deepens, and you descend to your guest house one last time. A lantern flickers in the hallway as you pass, guiding you to your chamber. Inside, you set your day's treasures upon the small wooden table, the rosemary sprig, the amber shard, the black coriander seeds, and the loaf of bread now reduced to crumbs. You light a thin beeswax candle, its flame steady and golden, and place it beside your pillow. Before slipping under the coarse blanket, you press your fingertips to the stone and the splinter anchors to home and faith. You whisper your thanks for the day's quiet wonders, for the kindness of strangers, for the city's soft hum beneath the stars. And now, drift into sleep, gentle pilgrim. Let the hush of Jerusalem cradle you, because when you awaken, we will continue our journey together, weaving the next chapter of your story in this ancient, whispering city. Welcome back, dear pilgrim. Let your breath deepen, your thoughts settle, and we'll greet another golden morning in Jerusalem together. A gentle rosy glow seeps through the shutters, coaxing you from slumber. You awaken slowly, limbs stretching like tendrils of mist. Your hand seeks the cool gray stone, and the tiny wooden splinter beneath your tunic anchors to home and hope. Rising, you slip into your tunic, the fabric cool and familiar, and step into the quiet corridor. Soft footsteps lead you downward into the courtyard, where lanterns still smolder softly in low iron bowls. A faint chorus of birds greets the dawn, their song weaving with the distant murmur of prayers. You pause at the fountain's lip, cupping its cool water to wash your face, each droplet awakening your senses like a whispered invitation. Today, your path guides you toward Mount Zion, the western ridge alive with echoes of ancient kings and sacred meals. You follow narrow lanes lined with vine-wreathed arches, the scent of ripening grapes drifting through the air. At the foot of a wide stairway, you pause, placing your hand on a carved keystone worn smooth by pilgrims' palms through centuries. You inhale gently and begin your ascent. Each step feels like a note in a hush-filled melody. Sunlight filters through tufts of prickly pear, dancing on the pale stone underfoot. At the summit, the room of the Last Supper awaits, a simple chamber where wood paneling glows honey gold in morning light. A heavy table fills the center, its surface polished by time. You trace the grain with your fingertips, imagining the hush of that final evening meal, the soft clink of cups, the quiet farewells. Exiting the chamber, you follow a cloistered walkway to the adjoining church. Its arches frame a balcony overlooking a valley of olive trees, their silvery leaves shimmering in the breeze. You lean against the balustrade, letting your mind drift across the rolling hills, picturing olive presses and harvest songs. A nun passes by, offering you a sprig of basil. You tuck it behind your ear, a fragrant reminder of Earth's simple blessings. Descending Mount Zion's steps, you wander into the Armenian quarter. Here, bell towers rise like watchful guardians. You pause at a small printing press, where monks hand-press Bibles on crisp white pages. The rhythmic thump of the press feels like a heartbeat, steady and reassuring. You lean close, watching ink spread across paper in delicate patterns, each letter a vessel of faith. Mid-morning calls you toward the pottery lanes, where artisans mold clay under shaded porticos. A potter invites you to the wheel, guiding your hands as you shape a humble bowl. The clay yields to your touch, cool and supple, and you feel its heartbeat beneath your palms. He smiles as you lift the finished form, imperfect, yet full of intention, a vessel to hold nourishment and memories alike. Hungry now, you follow the scent of spices to a courtyard cafe beside the King David's tomb. A gentle breeze carries the aroma of za'atar and lemon. You sit on a low cushion, and a server places a dish of labneh drizzled with olive oil and sprinkled with wild herbs before you. The creamy tang mingles with warm bread beneath your teeth, each mouthful a quiet celebration of flavor. After your meal, you wander to the Jewish quarters Cardo Maximus, an ancient colonnaded street, have buried beneath modern stones. You trace the worn columns, imagining the merchants and scholars who once walked here. A guide offers you a small fragment of mosaic tile, its colored glass glinting in your palm like a shard of rainbows. You slip it into your pouch, a keepsake of layered history. As afternoon haze softens the city, you seek shade in the leafy courtyard of St. Peter in Gallicantu. Legend says Peter denied his master here. Its stone stairs feel heavy with memory. You press your palm to the cold wall, whispering forgiveness into the quiet air. Above, pigeons coo in the courtyard's olive trees, their cooing a soothing refrain. Late afternoon light beckons you up the ramparts for a view of the sunset. You climb to a watchtower where sunset spills like liquid gold over the city's rooftops. Each stone ignites an ember light. The dome of the rock gleams with ethereal fire. You close your eyes, turning your face toward the warmth heart filled with the city's hush, mind cradled in its ancient arms. As dusk deepens, you wander back through lantern-lit lanes toward your guesthouse. The air cools, scented with night-blooming jasmine and distant fires. You carry the day's treasures, basil, clay bowl, mosaic shard, each a soft echo of the morning's promise. In your chamber, you place them on the wooden table beside your cot. You light a taper of beeswax. Its flame flickers in gentle gratitude. Fingers brushing the stone and splinter, you murmur thanks for the day's quiet gifts. Close your eyes now, gentle pilgrim. Let the memory of golden steps and whispered prayers lull you into dreams, because when tomorrow's light dawns, our journey will continue, unfolding new petals of wonder in the holy city. Welcome back, gentle traveler. Allow your breath to deepen, your mind to drift, and let us step once more into the soft glow of another day in ancient Jerusalem. A pale lavender light edges the sky as you awaken, nestling still in the warmth of your straw-filled cot. Your muscles stretch in slow arcs, settling the last tendrils of dreams back into the night. Your fingers brush the smooth gray stone, and the tiny splinter beneath your tunic's steadfast reminders of home and of faith. Rising with care, you slip into your well-worn tunic and step into the hush of the waking courtyard. The courtyard's flagstones are cool beneath your bare feet. A hush of mist drifts along the ground, curling around torch bowls dimmed by dawn's first blush. You pause at the fountain's lip, dipping cupped hands into its clear water, letting droplets trace paths down your cheeks in a gentle morning blessing. Today's journey leads you beyond the city walls, into the olive-studded slopes of the Mount of Olives. You follow a narrow path that winds upward, each step a soft susurration on the flagstones. Tufts of wild thyme release their earthy scent as you brush by, perfuming the air with subtle warmth. The city falls away behind you, its stones glowing faintly in the morning light, while ahead the path beckons through groves of twisted trunks and silver leaves. Reaching a shaded terrace high on the slope, you pause to catch your breath and take in the view. Below, the Kidron Valley stretches out, a ribbon of green weaving past tombs hewn into limestone. Your heart swells at the sight, so much history woven into every stone, every tree, every whisper of wind. A friar sits on a nearby bench, offering you a piece of crusty bread and a small flask of water. You accept gratefully, breaking the loaf into chunks and tasting its mild sweetness. The water is cool and crisp, carrying a hint of mineral from its spring. You sit beside him, sharing silence more comforting than words, each of you wrapped in the soft hush of dawn. When you rise, you follow the friar a little further along the ridge, to the Church of Pater Noster. Its walls are lined with tiles inscribed with the Lord's Prayer in hundreds of tongues. You kneel before a panel written in your own language, fingertips tracing the well-worn letters. The stones beneath your knees feel cool and solid, grounding you in the fellowship of countless pilgrims who have whispered this prayer. Morning drifts toward midday as you wander down toward the Garden of Gethsemane. Here, great olive trees spread wide their gnarled branches, casting dappled shadows on the earth. You stand beneath one ancient trunk resting your forehead against its bark. The rough texture surprises you with its strength, as though the tree itself holds centuries of prayer within its core. You close your eyes, inhaling the faint saffron scent of dry earth and leaf, letting the hush of the garden fill your soul. A voice calls softly, a novice monk inviting you to a small refectory nearby, where a simple meal awaits. Inside, long benches surround a table heaped with figs, goat cheese, and flatbreads, still warm from the hearth. You sit and join the other pilgrims, an array of weathered faces, young novices, and wandering souls like yourself. You break bread together, the soft crackle of crust meeting a chorus of murmured gratitude. The figs taste of honey and sun, their flesh melting on your tongue. The cheese is tangy and cool, balancing the sweetness. After the meal, you meander through the grove once more, this time seeking out a secluded alcove where the Virgin Mary is said to have prayed. A small stone bench rests beneath twisted vines. You sit and bow your head, whispering your own gentle petition, an offering of hope, of gratitude, of wonder. Behind you, a solitary bird flutters, its wings stirring the vines in a soft rustle that feels like an answer. The afternoon sun warms the hillside as you retrace your steps toward the city, descending through groves that glow gold in the light. Returning through the Lion's Gate, you feel the city's pulse return. The chime of bells, the call of merchants, the murmur of prayer mingling with the hum of life. You pause at a market stall where a spice merchant crushes saffron threads with a small mortar. He offers you a pinch on your palm-dark strands that glow like embers. You inhale deeply, letting its scent kindle a flicker of warmth in your chest before tucking the threads into your pouch. Next, you wander into the Christian quarter, drawn by the sight of a troubadour tuning his lyre in a shaded courtyard. He smiles and invites you closer, plucking strings with gentle precision. His melody drifts upward an ancient hymn, set to soft notes that ripple through the air like a lullaby. You close your eyes, letting each chord wash over you, feeling the stone beneath your feet seem to pulse in time with the music. Mid-afternoon brings you to a small pottery workshop you discovered days before. Today, you ask the potter to teach you the final steps of glazing a bowl. He dips the vessel into a vat of soft blue slip, then carefully brushes patterns of olive branches along its rim. When you lift it free, you feel the cool glaze against your fingertips, and the potter nods approval. The bowl now holds a piece of your own handiwork, its imperfections a testament to your touch. As evening approaches, you make your way to the terraces above the Jewish quarter, where a modest garden spills over a stone wall. Lanterns glow among the vines, their light warm and inviting. You gather figs from low branches and eat them slowly, savoring the sweetness and the hush of twilight. Beneath you, the city's rooftops catch the last rays of sun, each tile catching fire for a moment before darkness gently settles. Tired but content, you return to the guest house. In your chamber, you arrange today's treasures on the wooden table: a sprig of rosemary, saffron threads, a painted pottery bowl, and the shard of mosaic tile. You light a beeswax taper, its flame soft as a heartbeat, and place it beside your pillow. Your fingers brush the familiar stone and splinter, and you murmur thanks for the day's gentle gifts. Climbing into your cot, you draw the coarse blanket up to your chin. Your heartbeat slows, your thoughts drift, and the soft hum of Jerusalem at night lulls you toward dreams. In that tender space between wakefulness and sleep, imagine the new wonders that tomorrow's light will bring: new paths to wander, new prayers to whisper, new moments to hold close. Sleep now, gentle pilgrim. Let the hush of history cradle you, because when you awaken, we will continue our journey together, weaving yet another strand into the tapestry of your life in this ancient whispering city. Welcome back, dear pilgrim. Feel your breath soften, your body settling into this moment, and let us awaken together to another gentle dawn in Jerusalem. A silver light filters through the narrow window slats, casting delicate patterns on the stone floor of your chamber. You stir beneath the straw-filled mattress, limbs unfolding like petals greeting the morning. Your fingers seek the familiar weight of the cool gray stone and the splinter of the true cross, reminders of home and faith that rest close to your heart. Rising, you slip into your woolen tunic, the fabric whispering against your skin as you stand. Stepping into the courtyard, you pause to savor the hush before the city fully wakes. A light breeze stirs the torch bowls, sending faint plumes of smoke into the pale sky. Birdsong drifts across the flagstones, a gentle chorus welcoming the new day. You pause at the fountain's edge, cupping its water to wash your face, each droplet a soft kiss of awakening. Today, you feel an unspoken call to explore the city's hidden chapel's small sanctuaries tucked away in quiet corners. You follow a narrow lane shaded by grapevines heavy with fruit, their clusters glowing like amethyst lanterns overhead. The scent of ripening grapes mingles with damp stone, grounding your senses in the richness of life. First, you discover a tiny chapel ensconced within a garden courtyard. Its door, carved from olive wood and inlaid with simple crosses, creaks softly as you push it open. Inside, a single candle burns on a plain altar, its flame steady in the stillness. You kneel on a small cushion of woven straw, fingertips brushing the cold stone floor, and close your eyes in quiet prayer. The hush here feels like a held breath, timeless, sacred, tender. Leaving the chapel, you wander deeper into the Christian quarter, where craftsmen work with leather and iron. A saddle maker beckons you to his stall, showing you the fine stitch that secures horse bridles. He presses a glove into your hand, cowhide supple and cool. You run your fingers along the seam, feeling the strength of each stitch, each careful knot. He nods with approval, and you tuck the glove inside your pack, a token of shared craft and care. Sunlight climbs higher, and you find yourself drawn toward the riverside outside the city walls. You follow a winding path where the air smells of reed and cool water. Soon, you stand on the riverbank of the Kidron, its current gentle yet resolute. You remove your sandals and step into the shallow water, feeling pebbles shift beneath your feet. The current murmurs around your ankles, whispering of journeys both near and far. You let the cool flow soothe your tired muscles, closing your eyes against the sun's bright glare. Afterward, you wander back into the city, hungry for sustenance. A small cafe by the Damascus Gate offers a simple meal of lentil soup and flatbread. You sit at a low table beneath an awning of embroidered cloth, the shade cool and comforting. A server pours the soup into an earthenware bowl, its aroma rich with cumin and coriander. You lift a spoonful to your lips, savoring the warmth that spreads through you with each gentle sip. Full and content, you continue your exploration toward the Jewish Quarter's mikveh area, ancient ritual baths, whose stairs descend into carved rock. You pause at the entrance, admiring the worn steps that lead downward. Though you will not enter, you imagine the cool embrace of the water, the soft echo of prayer rising in vaulted chambers. You place a hand on the lintel, feeling the weight of ritual and renewal beneath your palm. Next, The afternoon sun draws you toward Al-Aqsa quiet gardens. You slip through a low archway into a courtyard where citrus trees mingle with cypress. Oranges glow like lanterns among dark leaves. You pluck a fruit and press it to your nose, the zest bursting with bright, tangy oil. A gardener offers you a sip of sweet orange blossom water, drizzling it onto your tongue like liquid perfume. Your eyes close in appreciation of its delicate bloom. Seeking stillness, you find a marble bench beneath a canopy of flowering vines. You sit, resting your head against the cool stone, and let the hush penetrate your bones. From here, the sounds of the city blend a distant muezzin's call, the clip-clop of hooves on stone, the murmur of traders' voices forming a gentle lullaby. As the sun dips toward the horizon, you make your way to the Dome of the Chain, a small open pavilion near the Dome of the Rock. Its slender columns frame a view of the city bathed in gold. You stand in the center, palms open, and let the vista fill your sight. The dome's horseshoe arches cradle the sky, and you feel suspended between earth and heaven, past and present, breath and prayer. Evening's cool breeze brushes your cheeks as you descend into the old city's alleys. Lanterns flicker in carved niches beside doorways, their light warm against the creeping dusk. You pause at a spice merchant's stall, where saffron and turmeric lie in neat pyramids. He offers you a pinch of turmeric, its earthy scent deep and rich. You close your eyes, inhaling, and let the fragrance anchor you in this moment of transition. Hungry again, you follow the scent of roasting lamb to a humble eatery, where a fire pit glows. You sit on a low stool as a woman in a simple headscarf carves tender slices of meat. She wraps them in a soft flatbread with tomatoes, parsley, and a drizzle of tahini. You bite into the pita-warm bread and savory lamb, and bright herbs mingling in perfect harmony. Each chew is a chorus of flavors, smoky, earthy, sweet, and tangy. Night settles as you make your way back through the winding lanes, guided by lantern light and distant prayers. You pause at a small fountain where water gently trickles into a mosaic basin. You cup your hands and let the cool stream soothe your palms, watching the colored tiles glimmer under the lantern's glow. At last, you return to your guesthouse chamber. You arrange today's treasures: an orange blossom branch, a pinch of turmeric wrapped in cloth, the leather glove on the wooden table beside your cot. You light a taper of beeswax, its flame steady and comforting, and place it beside your pillow. Before settling into your straw-stuffed mattress, you press your fingertips to the cool gray stone and the wooden splinter. You murmur thanks for the day's gifts, the hush of hidden chapels, the laughter of traders, the taste of citrus and lamb, the gentle caress of water. You whisper a prayer for peace in this city of echoes, for kindness to guide your steps, and for tomorrow's dawn to bring renewed wonder. Closing your eyes, you feel the gentle pull of sleep. Let each breath carry you deeper into dreams, because when you awaken, our journey will continue, soft as a whisper, weaving yet another chapter in the tapestry of your life in Jerusalem. Welcome back, gentle traveler. Allow your breath to settle, your body to soften, and together, let us step into the hush of a new dawn in this ancient city. Morning's first light brushes the edges of your eyelids, drawing you from sleep's embrace. You awaken slowly, your limbs stretching as though greeting an old friend. Your fingers drift to the cool gray stone, and the splinter of the true cross resting against your heart, grounding you in this sacred moment. Rising, you pull on your woolen tunic, its threads whispering comfort against your skin. Outside your door, The courtyard is still. Torch bowls smolder with embers, sending thin trails of smoke skyward. A single bird coos from a nearby olive tree, its song gentle as a lullaby. You step barefoot onto the flagstones, feeling the cool stones awaken your soles as you make your way toward the city gate. Today, your path leads you beyond Jerusalem's walls once more, into the rolling Judean hills that cradle this city of memory. You follow a goat track that winds upward, each step cushioned by soft earth and sprigs of thyme that release their warm, herbal scent beneath your feet. The air here is crisp, carrying faint echoes of pine from distant groves and the soft murmur of hidden springs. At the crest of a low ridge, you pause to catch your breath and drink in the view. Jerusalem lies below you, its towers and domes bathed in pale gold light. Your heart swells at the sight, a tapestry of stone and shadow, of prayers woven into every street and spire. You close your eyes, tipping your face toward the sun, letting its warmth slide into your chest like a quiet blessing. A shepherd appears, leading a small flock of goats that nibble at the scrubby grasses. He offers you a flask of goat's milk, fresh and cool, its sweetness a surprise on your tongue. You drink deeply, savoring its pure flavor, and he nods with silent kindness before guiding his flock onward. Following the shepherd's path, you come upon a hidden spring nestled between mossy stones. Water bubbles up in a crystal pool, its surface shimmering with sunlight. You kneel at the edge, letting your fingers trail in the cool flow, then drink deeply from cupped hands, each sip a gentle caress of refreshment. Above you, grasses sway in a silent dance, and you lean back against a smooth rock, breathing in the hush of this secret place. After your reverent pause, you continue down the hillside, where ancient terraces hold gnarled vines and wildflowers. You pick a few sprigs of sage and tuck them behind your ear, their savory aroma mingling with the fresh air. Nearby, a solitary fig tree shelters a stone bench carved centuries ago. You sit and break off a plump fig, its flesh sweet and honeyed, each bite like a whisper of summer. As midday approaches, you descend toward a small hermitage carved into the rock face, an austere chapel where monks once sought solitude. A rough-hewn door opens onto a dim cell lit by a single slit window. You step inside, the air cool and still, and light a slender taper of beeswax. The flame flickers against bare stone walls, and you kneel on the rocky floor, pressing your palms into its ancient surface. You close your eyes and offer a quiet prayer, an echo of those whispered by hermits long ago, whose footsteps still seem to linger in the hush. Leaving the Hermitage, you follow a narrow path that leads you past olive groves toward a sunlit valley below. The hills roll away in gentle waves, and the air hums with cicadas hidden among the grasses. You let your fingers brush the olive leaves, their silver undersides cool against your skin. In the distance, you see a small village whitewashed houses clustered around a stone well. Drawn by curiosity, you wander into the village square. Women sit on low benches, weaving baskets of woven reeds. Children play a game of marbles in the shade of a fig tree. You pause to greet them. Their laughter rings like bells, and a little boy presses a smooth pebble into your hand, a silent gift of friendship. You tuck it into your pouch, letting its rounded shape remind you of this shared moment. Hungry now, you follow the scent of hearth smoke to a humble home where a family invites you inside. They offer you a bowl of vegetable stew thick with lentils, chickpeas, and tender greens. You sit cross-legged on the earthen floor, cradling the warm bowl in your hands as you eat slowly, savoring each spoonful. The flavors taste of the land itself, earthy, nourishing, honest. After your meal, you wander behind the house to a small courtyard shaded by pomegranate trees. Their branches droop heavy with ripe fruit, each one glowing like a lantern in evening light. You pluck a fruit and open it, letting the seeds tumble into your hand like jeweled beads. One by one, you taste them tart, sweet, cool, each seed a burst of life on your tongue. When the day's heat begins to fade, you rise and make your way back toward Jerusalem. The hills grow softer in the dimming light, and lanterns begin to glow in village windows. You pause at the ridge's crest, turning once more to gaze at the city whose stones are etched into your heart. A warm breeze stirs your hair, and you feel the gentle pull of home drawing you back. Descending into the city, you pass through the golden gate sealed now, its story a quiet echo of prophecy and hope. Inside the walls, the streets hum with evening life. Candles flicker in shop doorways. The scent of fresh bread drifts from ovens. Distant voices rise in prayer and song. You pause at a fountain in the Christian quarter, letting its cool water splash against your palms before cupping it to your lips. Full of the day's wanderings, you make your way back to the guest house. Inside your chamber, you place today's treasures on a small wooden table. The pebble from the boy, the pomegranate seeds you could not resist, the sprig of sage still fragrant behind your ear. You light a beeswax taper, its soft flame golden against the stone walls, and sit for a moment in the quiet glow. Before slipping beneath your blanket, you press your fingertips once more to the cool gray stone and the splinter of the true cross. You murmur thanks for the hills and springs, for the strangers who shared their homes, for the laughter of children, and for this city that holds your heart. You whisper a final prayer for the peace and safety of this place, and for the kindness that binds us all. And now, drift into sleep, dear pilgrim. Let the hush of the Judean hills cradle you, because when tomorrow's light awakens you, we will continue our gentle journey together through the ancient whispering stones of Jerusalem. Welcome back, gentle pilgrim. Allow your breath to soften, your heart to open, and together we will greet another day's hush in the sacred stones of Jerusalem. Dawn's first tendrils of pale light slip beneath your shutters, stirring you from slumber. You stretch beneath the straw-filled cot, each movement deliberate, unrushed. Your fingers brush the smooth gray river stone, then drift to the tiny splinter of wood against your heart, grounding you before you rise. You pull on your woolen tunic, its fabric cool and comforting, and step barefoot into the courtyard's gentle hush. Torches have cooled to glowing embers, sending thin coils of smoke skyward like slow incense. A single dove coos softly from an olive branch overhead. You pause at the fountain basin, letting your fingertips trace the carved patterns in its stone lip, and then cup the water to wash your face, each droplet a gentle kiss of morning. Today promises a different hush, the quiet rhythm of worship and celebration that fills the early hours. You slip through the arched gate and make your way to the Church of the Holy Sepulchre, where pilgrims gather for matins. The worn flagstones echo under your steps, each footfall a soft prayer rising on the cool air. Inside, candlelight flickers against ancient pillars. Monks in simple habits chant in low, rolling tones Latin, forming gentle waves that wash over you. You find a spot near a column and stand silently, letting the melody cradle your spirit. The scent of melted beeswax and frankincense drifts around you, warm and soothing, as the choir's voices swell and fade like a distant sea. After the service, the sunlight pours through high windows, casting prismatic beams across the stone floor. You step into the courtyard, where pilgrims share hushed blessings and gentle embraces. A kind elderly nun presses a small loaf of honey-sweetened bread into your palm, an offering of grace and sustenance. You bite into it, savoring its tender crumb and faint hum of sweetness, then tuck the remainder into your pouch for later. Leaving the church, you wander through the bustling Armenian quarter, where narrow alleys hum with quiet industry. Artisans carefully hand-paint small icons on thin wooden panels, their brushes moving in soft arcs. You pause at a workshop door, peering in to watch the painter mix pigments of gold and ultramarine on a stone palette. A swirl of color forms the wing of an angel delicate, ethereal. The artist glances up, offers you a gentle nod, and continues his work, each stroke a prayer in pigment. Mid-morning finds you slipping into the Jewish quarter, where preparations for the Sabbath begin to stir. Women knead dough for challah in small courtyards, their hands moving in rhythmic folds. You inhale the warm yeast-scented air and watch as they braid strands of dough into golden plaits. One woman sees your interest and slides a small, perfectly shaped loaf into your hands. You thank her softly and tuck the braided bread into your bag, its weight a reminder of shared nourishment. Nearby, a group of children chase a ball between the alley walls, their laughter a bright counterpoint to the softer sounds of the city. You pause to watch them, letting their joy bubble up in your own heart like fresh spring water. One child mistakes you for a friend and offers you a handful of pomegranate seeds, bright rubies of sweet juice. You accept gratefully, tasting one as you continue on your path. As the sun climbs higher, you follow a shaded lane toward the Muslim quarter's hidden mosque. Through a low door, you step into a lush courtyard framed by orange trees in blossom. Carved wooden screens filter the sunlight into gentle patterns on the tiled floor. You find a spot beneath a window and sit quietly as the muezzin's call to prayer rises, a tender melody that curves through the air like silk. You close your eyes, letting each phrase wash over you, the words unfamiliar, but the feeling of devotion universal. Afterwards, you wander to a nearby cafe, where the scent of freshly ground cardamom and cinnamon drifts from a simmering pot. A host offers you a cup of sweet spiced tea, its warmth grounding you as you sip slowly. Steam curls from the cup like a gentle embrace, and you let the flavors mingle on your tongue spice, sugar, and the earth itself. With midday approaching, you feel drawn to the market stalls of the Souk al-Katanin once more. Traders display bowls of bright saffron, jars of rosewater, and piles of dried figs that gleam like polished stones. You pause at a spice vendor who crushes fragrant za'atar between his fingertips, the aroma of thyme and oregano rising in a heady swirl. He offers you a pinch, and you let the herby scent warm your senses before tucking a small linen sack of za'atar into your pouch. An afternoon breeze stirs the tapestry-hung awnings overhead as you continue to the rooftop terraces. Above the city's tangled lanes, you climb the narrow staircase, heartening yourself with each breath, until you emerge onto a flat roof where potted jasmine vines lean toward the sun. You settle on a low cushion, the city's mosaic of domes and minarets unfolding around you. The sounds below rise in gentle chords, distant hammers in a smithy, the hum of conversation, the faint drip of water from a fountain. You close your eyes and let the layering of sound lull you into a meditative state, each note a whisper in a vast symphony. As late afternoon light softens to golden, you descend toward the Valley of Hinnom to visit a small shrine hidden among olive trees. Stone steps wind down through tangled roots, and moss cushions the edges. At the shrine's simple altar, you kneel on a cushion of woven reeds and press both palms into the cool surface, feeling centuries of touch. You offer a silent prayer for peace in this city of many voices, then rise, carrying the hush of that sacred space within you. Evening's glow beckons you back inside the walls. You return through the dung gate, lantern in hand, guided by the gentle arc of starlight above. Along narrow streets, shops display lanterns and tapestries, their colors deepening in the dusk. You stop at a small eatery where a kindly cook wraps spiced rice and vegetables in grape leaves. She presses the parcel into your hand, nods with a soft smile, and you walk on, savoring the fragrant bundle pressed against your side. Back in your guest house chamber, you lay out today's treasures: the loaf of honey bread, the braided challah, the za'atar sack, a few pomegranate seeds, and the small painted icon you purchased. You light a beeswax taper. Its flame dances in the still air, casting gentle shadows on the stone walls. You press your fingertips to the cool gray stone and the splinter of the true cross, feeling their quiet steadiness. You whisper thanks for worship shared, for kindness received, for the tapestry of faith woven through every alley and arch. You whisper a final prayer for the city of safety and for all pilgrims' safe return home. Climbing into your cot, you draw the coarse blanket up to your chin and close your eyes. Let the city's hush cradle you. Let the memory of prayer and kindness drift you into dreams. Because when dawn's hush wakes you again, our journey will continue, step by gentle step, through the storied streets of ancient Jerusalem. Welcome back, gentle traveler. Settle into the hush. Allow your breath to slow, and let us wake together to another soft dawn in this timeless city. A gentle wash of rose and lavender light seeps beneath your shutters, coaxing you from the cradle of sleep. You stretch beneath your straw-filled mattress, every fiber of your being slowly unfurling like a leaf in morning's glow. Your fingers drift to the smooth gray stone and the tiny splinter of wood at your chest anchors to your journey, reminders of where you come from and where your heart now roams. Rising, you pull on your woolen tunic, its threads cool and familiar against your skin, then slide your feet onto the flagstones of the quiet corridor. Stepping into the courtyard, you pause at the fountain's lip, where water murmurs softly as it spills into the carved basin. You lean over, letting gentle droplets slide across your face, each one a blessing, coaxing you fully awake. Above you, the olive branches sway in the dawn breeze, their leaves whispering secrets of ancient days. Today, your path leads to the city's southern gate, where the road winds out toward the verdant slopes of the Judean hills. You rise to begin your pilgrimage anew, each step an invitation to wonder. Passing beneath the lion's gate, you feel the cool shadow of the walls behind you and the soft promise of open country ahead. The road outside the walls is rough-hewn, strewn with pebbles and dust, but underfoot it feels like a ribbon guiding you forward. To either side, wildflowers bloom delicate white daisies, bright scarlet poppies, and tiny blue flax blossoms, each petal trembling in the morning air. Their colors feel like a quiet celebration of life's endless renewal. You follow the path up a gentle incline, the rise so gradual you scarcely notice until the city falls away behind you, replaced by rolling hills draped in olive groves. The trees rise and fall in gentle waves, their silvery leaves glinting in the rosy light. You pause to rub one between your fingers, tasting its faint earthiness, letting its rhythm soothe your mind. After a short climb, you reach a ridge where a solitary fig tree spreads wide its ancient branches. Beneath it sits a weathered stone bench, its surface etched with initials and prayers from pilgrims long past. You settle there, removing your boots to feel the cool grass beneath your soles. In your lap, you place a loaf of honey-sweetened bread, gifted by the nun, its crust golden and tender. Breaking off a piece, you feel its soft crumb yield in your hand. You taste it slowly, the gentle sweetness, the whisper of wheat, the faint hum of beeswax-edged honey. As you chew, you let the taste seep into your memories, carrying with it the warmth of shared kindness. A shepherd's distant cry carries through the valley, and you look up to see his flock moving like a slow river of white and brown. He waves, beckoning you closer. You rise and meet him, offering a piece of bread as the goats gather around. Their noses nuzzle your palm, and the shepherd smiles, a silent acknowledgement of simple bonds shared in sunlit hills. Leaving the ridge, you follow a narrow trail that winds through a citrus grove. Here, lemon and orange trees mingle, their fruit heavy and bright. Branches dip low with ripening bounty, and you pluck a small orange, its rind cool beneath your fingers. You peel it carefully, each ribbon of zest releasing oils that scent the air with sweet tang. As you taste the fruit's segments, its juice glides across your tongue bright, refreshing, a promise of new beginnings. Continuing on, the trail slopes downward toward a rocky ravine where a hidden spring burbles from the earth. Moss carpets the stones, and ferns lean in close to the water's edge. You kneel and cup your hands under the clear flow, letting the cool current soothe your thirst and calm your spirit. The sound of water singing over stone feels like a lullaby for your soul. Nearby, an old hermit has built a simple shelter of woven branches and dried reeds. Smoke curls from a small hearth where he warms a pot of herbal tea made from thyme and wild mint. He offers you a cup, its fragrance soothing and bright. You hold it between both hands, feeling warmth spread through your fingers, up your arms, and into your heart. Sitting beside him, you share silence as the world moves around you, the flutter of sparrows, the rustle of leaves, the distant bleat of goats. In that quiet communion, you feel the pulse of life itself soft, patient, enduring. When you leave the Hermitage, you carry with you a small sprig of mint, a gift to remind you of this restful pause. The path leads you through terraces of vineyards, where gnarled vines bear clusters of grapes plump with summer's promise. You step carefully among the rows, inhaling the vine's musty sweetness. A vintner tending his harvest presses a grape between his thumb and forefinger, then offers one to you. Its flesh bursts with sweet tart juice, and you close your eyes, letting the moment bloom within you like a quiet prayer. As midday approaches, you reach the outskirts of a small village nestled in a fold of the hills. Whitewashed houses cluster around a communal well, whose stones bear deep grooves from centuries of use. Women draw water in clay jars, threading their way through narrow lanes. You join them, lowering your own jar into the well and lifting it filled, a simple chore transformed into reverent ritual by time. Nearby, an open courtyard shelters a communal oven. The smell of baking bread drifts through the air, guiding you forward. A baker slides a flatbread, baked on hot stones, into your hands, its surface pocked with charred bubbles and dusted with sesame seeds. You bite in, feeling its warmth and heartiness, and the knowing taste of shared community. Fortified, you wander deeper into the village, where children chase each other with wooden swords and brightly colored hoops. Their laughter rings through the alleys like tiny bells, echoing in every arch and doorway. A little girl, her curls brushed with dust, holds out a wooden hoop to you. You spin it around your arm, feeling its gentle weight, then hand it back with a smile. She giggles, running on before you, a fleeting flash of joy in this timeless landscape. In the afternoon heat, you follow a narrow stream that threads past olive trees and wildflowers back toward Jerusalem. Its gentle trickle guides your steps, and you pause now and then to cool your hands or rinse your face, letting the water carry away any dust or weariness. Descending back through the Lion's Gate, you watch as the city's stones glow beneath the slanted sun. Shadows lengthen along the walls, and the air grows soft with evening's promise. You pause at a small kiosk outside the gate where a spice merchant roasts coffee beans over a low fire. The dark scent curls into your senses, warm and heady. He offers you a cup of freshly brewed coffee, strong and fragrant, and you sip it slowly, the bitterness tempered by your own delight. With the sun dipping low, you make your way to the western ramparts, where you once knelt before the ancient stones. This time, you ascend to a turret high above the city's winding lanes. Below, the dome of the rock gleams in the golden light, and the spires and domes of churches and mosques cast long shadows. You lean against the battlement, feeling the cool stone at your back, and breathe in the hush of dusk, a soft sigh exhaled by the city itself. When lanterns flicker to life along the rooftops, you descend into the heart of Jerusalem. You wander the Christian quarter's lantern-lit lanes, noting the soft glow of candles in shop windows and the smell of spiced wine drifting from a tavern's open door. You pause to watch a minstrel weaving a lullaby on a lute, each note drifting upward in gentle waves. Full of twilight's music, you return to your guest house. Inside your chamber, you arrange today's simple treasures on the wooden table. The sprig of mint, a handful of grapes, the flatbread still warm. You light a beeswax taper, its flame flickering in gratitude for the day's quiet gifts. Before sinking into your cot, you press fingers to the familiar stone and splinter, whispering quiet thanks for hillside springs, for strangers' kindness, for moments of laughter and rest. You murmur a prayer for safe passage home for all pilgrims, and for this city whose stones hold both hope and history. And now, drift into sleep, dear pilgrim. Let the hush of the Judean hills cradle you, because when dawn's first light awakens you again, our journey will continue, weaving yet another gentle chapter in the tapestry of your life amidst Jerusalem's ancient stones. Welcome back, gentle pilgrim. Settle into the hush. Let your breath deepen, and together let us venture beyond the city walls once more, this time toward the sacred town of Bethlehem. The dawn light creeps softly beneath your shutters, painting your chamber walls in pale apricot hues. You awaken slowly, your body heavy with rest, yet eager for the day's gentle promise. Your fingers trail along the smooth gray river stone and the tiny wooden splinter beneath your tunic, reassuring anchors to your journey. Rising, you slip into your woolen tunic, its familiar weight wrapping you in comfort, and step barefoot onto the flagstones of the courtyard. A hush still blankets Jerusalem's streets as you slip through the Lion's Gate. Morning birds trill in olive branches overhead, and the air tastes of dew and distant wood smoke. You follow the ancient road that leads south, each step a quiet echo on worn stones, footprints of pilgrims from centuries past. Olive groves flank the path, their silver leaves quivering in the gentle breeze. Here and there, tufts of wild thyme carpet the ground, releasing a warm, earthy scent with every footfall. You pause to cup a handful of thyme, pressing it to your nose, its crisp aroma lifting your spirits like a whispered blessing. As the city's walls recede behind you, the landscape opens to rolling hills dotted with shepherds' huts and grazing flocks. A shepherd tends his sheep nearby, their woolly backs gleaming in the sun. He offers you a flask of goat's milk, cool and sweet, and you sip gratefully, feeling its purity settle in your belly like a promise of strength. Continuing on, the gentle climb toward Bethlehem begins. The road winds upward through terraces of vineyards, where gnarled vines stretch in orderly rows. Grapes hang in tight clusters, their skins deepening to midnight purple as they ripen in the sun. A vintner pauses in his work to offer you a grape, its flesh bursting sweet and tart on your tongue. A taste of summer distilled. A soft haze drapes the hills as you crest the ridge, and below you see the walls of Bethlehem, pale stone glinting in the morning light. Your heart quickens at the sight, a town small in size, but vast in significance. Here, they say, the Messiah was born in a humble stable, cradled in a manger of hay. You descend the slope, each step carrying you closer to the town's carved gates. The road narrows, flanked by low houses whose whitewashed walls glow softly in the sun. Laundry flutters on lines, overhead fabrics dyed saffron, indigo, and crimson dancing like prayer flags in the breeze. Stepping through the town's gate, you inhale the scent of fresh bread baking in communal ovens. Women gather in small courtyards, coaxing dough to rise and shaping loaves with practiced hands. You stop to greet a mother and her daughter. They press a warm flatbread into your palm, its surface flecked with black sesame seeds. You bite off a piece, its crust crackles beneath your teeth, the crumb soft and yielding, each morsel a quiet celebration of abundance. Drawn by the sound of chanting, you follow narrow alleys until you arrive at the Church of the Nativity, its facade aged with centuries of devotion. Inside, candlelight flickers against marbled pillars, casting dancers' shadows upon the stone floor. Pilgrims file past a small, star-shaped opening in the floor, the exact spot where tradition holds the Christ child was born. You kneel, pressing your forehead to the cool marble, closing your eyes and breathing in the hush of holiness that lingers here. A single tear escapes, warm and bright, and you let it fall onto the stone, your silent prayer joining countless others pressed into these hallowed walls. Rising, you drift into the adjoining basilica, where mosaics of gold and crimson glimmer in high arches. Angels and saints gaze down in mosaic tiles, their eyes wise and serene. You trace the patterns with a fingertip, marveling at the small stones that create such vast beauty, each tessera, a testament to human devotion. Exiting the church, you pause in the courtyard where olive trees thrive in tight clusters. Their trunks bulge and twist, carved by wind and time into knotted shapes. You lean against the rough bark, eyes closed, letting the tree's rooted stillness seep into your bones. Nearby, a small grotto invites you into its shadowed interior, a place said to shelter the footprints of shepherds startled by angel song. Inside, a gentle spring trickles over stones, its water pooling in a shallow basin. You kneel and scoop the cool liquid to your lips, tasting its purity, a reminder that even in darkness, life flows. Ascending back onto the sunlit streets, you meander to a humble guest house near the town's edge. Within, you discover a simple courtyard where tables are laid with bowls of lentils, chicken stews, and baskets of figs and grapes. Pilgrims and locals share the meal, smiles passing like soft currency. You take a seat beside an elderly man whose eyes still glitter with wonder. He passes you the dish of lentils thick and savory, seasoned with cumin and garlic. Each spoonful warms you from within, a nourishing balm for body and soul. After the meal, you stroll to the Milk Grotto, a small chapel whose walls glow milky white under soft lamps. Legend says a drop of Mary's milk fell to the stone, granting it healing power. You kneel before the grotto's alabaster walls, pressing your hand against their smooth surface and feeling a gentle pulse, as if the rock remembers the sacred moment. Placed before you is a small cloth folded into thirds. A priest smiles and instructs you to press it against the grotto's wall, then fold it back into your robe. This cloth, he says, will carry the grotto's blessing with you. You follow his guidance, each fold a careful caress of reverence, and tuck the cloth safely under your arm. Stepping back into the afternoon sun, you find a shaded bench where you rest, eyes drifting over the rolling hills beyond Bethlehem. Your journey here feels like a circle completed: earth, water, sustenance, all woven into this land's fabric. A gentle breeze stirs your hair, and you inhale deeply, letting the scent of olive and thyme fill your lungs. As the sun dips lower, you know it is time to return to Jerusalem. You rise, smoothing your tunic, and begin the walk back along the path you came. Each step a gentle echo in the afternoon hush. Terraces of vines and flocks of sheep slip past, and the world feels at once immense and intimate, the vast hills wrapped softly in praying light. Entering the city once more, you pause at the council tower, where pale shadows gather as lanterns are lit one by one. You let the cool air of evening embrace you, its hush a tender lullaby. Before you reach your guest house, you stop at a small stall where a vendor lights a brazier of coals and grills strips of lamb seasoned with garlic and rosemary. The aroma is irresistible, and you accept a skewer, each bite smoky, juicy, and fragrant, its flavor lingering like a gentle caress on your tongue. Finally, you return to your quiet chamber. You place today's treasures: fresh flatbread, the folded cloth from the Milk Grotto, and a small cluster of grapes on the wooden table beside your cot. You light a slender beeswax taper, its flame dancing softly against the stone walls. Your fingers brush the cool gray stone and the wooden splinter one last time, and you murmur thanks for the birthplaces of hope, for wells and grottos, for strangers who share bread and blessings. Climbing into your straw-filled cot, you draw the blanket up to your chin and close your eyes. Let the hush of Bethlehem cradle your dreams, because when dawn's soft light finds you again, our journey will continue soft as a breath through the sacred stones and whispered prayers of this timeless land. Welcome back, gentle pilgrim. Breathe in the calm. Let your thoughts soften, and together we will wander once more through the whispered stones of this timeless land. A pale blush of dawn slips beneath your shutters, stirring the hush of your chamber. You awake with a soft sigh, your body still heavy with dreams, yet eager for the day's quiet promise. Your fingers seek the cool gray river stone and the tiny splinter of the true cross, resting close to your heart-quiet anchors in a world of wonders. Rising, you slip into your well-worn tunic, its wool cool and familiar against your skin, and step barefoot onto the flagstones of the courtyard. Outside, the world is still wrapped in dawn's gentle veil. The torch bowls smolder softly, sending tendrils of smoke curling into pale morning air. A single dove coos from an olive limb overhead, a lone voice greeting the new day. You pause at the fountain's lip, dipping cupped hands into its clear water and letting droplets trace gentle paths across your cheeks, each one a blessing whispered in stone. Today, your path leads you back within Jerusalem's walls to explore sites you have not yet touched. The Pool of Siloam, Solomon's Ponds, and the hidden chapels of Ein Kerem. You step through the dung gate, feeling the cool shadow of ancient stones at your back, and follow narrow lanes until the city's hum falls away behind you. The road to the Pool of Siloam winds through the city of David, its stones worn smooth by countless pilgrim feet. Morning light filters through the branches of pomegranate trees, their fruit glowing like scattered rubies on the ground. You follow the gentle murmur of water until you stand on the terrace overlooking the pool, its surface glassy, reflecting early sunlight like molten gold. A caretaker, his robe simple and earth-toned, greets you with a bow and leads you down carved steps into the sunken chamber. The air grows cool and still as you descend, the walls dripping with gentle condensation. At the water's edge, you kneel and let your fingers slip beneath the surface. The cool current flows around your wrists, carrying the hush of history in its ripple. You scoop water to your lips, its taste mineral and pure, and close your eyes, letting its quiet energy fill your spirit. Rising, you follow the path along the Kedron Valley toward Solomon's Pools, a trio of ancient reservoirs that once supplied Jerusalem's water. Olive groves line the route, their silvered leaves whispering in the breeze. Wildflowers, scarlet poppies, blue flax, and white daisies dot the fields, each petal trembling in dawn's breath. You pause now and then to brush your fingers through grasses, savoring their soft textures and earthy scent. Approaching the first pool, you marvel at its enormous framed stone walls, rising tall and still beneath the morning sun. You descend a narrow staircase carved into the rock and step onto a causeway that divides the calm waters in two. The pool is vast and mirror-flat, broken only by ripples from fish and the occasional drop of dew falling from olive branches overhead. At the far end, you find a low stone bench. You sit and let the water's steady hush envelop you, a soft lullaby carried on the breeze. A farmer passes by, leading a donkey laden with reeds. He pauses, offering you a sprig of rosemary, its fragrance bright and uplifting. You accept it gratefully, letting its scent anchor you to this timeless place. When you rise again, you follow the path to the second pool, where reeds sway in shallow inlets and dragonflies flit above the surface. You remove your sandals and wade in, letting the cool water flow around your ankles, then calves. Standing still, you feel a gentle current tug at your feet, as if the pool itself invites you to linger longer in its quiet embrace. After a time, you redress and continue to the third pool, where a small grotto has been carved into the hillside. Candles line its entrance, their flames flickering in greeting. Inside, you find a small altar hewn from stone. You kneel, pressing your forehead to its cool surface, and offer a silent prayer, thankful for the gift of water, for the kindness of strangers, for the chance to wander in such sacred hush. Leaving Solomon's Pools behind, you retrace your steps toward the village of Ein Kerem, nestled in the hills west of Jerusalem. The road climbs gently, winding through terraced fields and groves of ancient oaks. The air is redolent with the scent of rosemary and wild sage, each breath a soothing draught of earth and sky. As you crest the hill, Ein Kerem's whitewashed houses come into view, clustered around two ancient churches, the Church of the Visitation and the Church of St. John the Baptist. You descend into the village square, where a fountain bubbles in the center, its water cool and clear. You kneel at its edge, letting the spring water splash over your hands, then cup some to your lips, its freshness a gentle gift. First, you visit the Church of the Visitation, where, tradition holds, Mary visited her cousin Elizabeth. Inside, frescoes line the walls, soft, pastel scenes of meeting and song. You trace your finger along the etched symbols beside a carved niche, then kneel in the pew, letting the hush of history fill you. A patch of sunlight filters through stained glass above, illuminating dust motes that drift like tiny dancers in the air. Next, you wander to the Church of St. John the Baptist, perched above the spring that once served the village. You follow a narrow path to the lower grotto, where water still flows from rock to basin. You kneel on smooth stone and let your hand hover over the flowing spring, feeling its gentle pulse. For a moment, you sense the whispered voice of history itself, calling you to remember, to hope, to find peace. Emerging once more into the courtyard, you pause beneath a vine-covered archway where morning glories bloom in brilliant blue. Their petals glow like small lanterns in the sun, and you let their color fill your vision before moving on. By mid-morning, you return to Jerusalem's walls, stepping once more through the Jaffa Gate. The city's pulse hums around you. Again, merchants opening stalls, the faint clang of metal in a blacksmith's shop, the call of donkey drivers guiding their beasts. You weave through narrow lanes, letting the sounds and smells wash over you like a gentle tide. Your path leads you to the Church of St. Anne, an oasis of calm near the Lion's Gate. Inside, the architecture is grand yet hushed high vaulted ceilings and Romanesque arches that cradle the slightest whisper. You find a quiet corner near a column and rest your head against the cool stone, letting the church's stillness cradle you. A choir of monks begins to sing, their voices rising in soft harmony that echoes in the vast space like the shimmer of wind through silver leaves. When the chant ends, you step into the church's courtyard, where a small pool, thought to have healing waters, sits hidden beneath fig trees. You kneel at its edge, dipping a cup into the glassy surface. Lifting it to your lips, you taste the promise of healing in its subtle minerality, closing your eyes against the faint scent of figs overhead. As midday light grows warm, you wander toward the Damascus Gate, drawn by the promise of lunch in the nearby market. You pick your way through stalls overflowing with olives, cheeses, dried fruits, and hunks of spiced flatbread. A vendor wraps a mix of pickled vegetables, turnips, cucumbers, peppers, and paper, and hands it to you with a nod of welcome. You wander to a shaded fountain, unwrapping the parcel and tasting each crisp bite, tangy, briny, alive with desert sun and earth. Full now, you decide to rest in a quiet corner of the nearby arabesque-tiled cafe, where cushions line low benches beneath arching trellises. You sip sweet mint tea, letting its warmth soothe you as afternoon drifts toward evening. Sunlight filters through latticework, painting shifting patterns on your lap as you sit in contemplative hush. Finally, as dusk's lavender glow gathers, you return to your guest house, stepping softly through the courtyard's lantern-lit gloom. In your chamber, you place today's treasures cupfuls of fig-scented water, the sprig of rosemary from Solomon's pool, the bright pickles and careful array on the wooden table. You light a taper of beeswax. Its flame dances gently on the wall, and you press your fingertips to the cool gray stone and the splinter of wood one last time. You murmur thanks for water that heals and whispers, for grottos that cradle the soul, for beginnings and visitations etched into rock and prayer. You whisper a final prayer for peace in this city of many names, and even more stories. Climbing into your straw-filled cot, you draw the coarse blanket up to your chin and close your eyes. Drift now into sleep, dear pilgrim. Let the hush of holy waters cradle you, because when dawn's first light finds you again, we will continue our gentle journey together, step by soft step, through the tapestry of Jerusalem and its sacred surroundings. Welcome back, gentle pilgrim. Take a deep breath. Let your shoulders soften, for this is our final chapter, a gentle closing of our journey's embrace. Dawn's first light spills through your window, pale and unhurried, as if it too honors this last day. You awaken slowly, every fiber of your being still humming with the echoes of paths walked and waters shared. Your fingers rest on the smooth gray river stone and the tiny wooden splinter over your heart-steadfast companions on each soft step. Rising, you slide into your woolen tunic and step barefoot into the courtyard's hush, the flagstones cool beneath your feet. Today, your footsteps lead you inward back through Jerusalem's winding lanes toward the place where you first arrived. Each turn brings a gentle rush of memory, the hush of hidden chapels, the song of sacred waters, the laughter of strangers offering bread and blessing. You pause at a carved doorway you passed on your first morning, its worn threshold greeting you as if it knew you by name. Stepping inside, you find yourself in the same simple guest house that cradled your rest. Soft lantern light flickers in iron sconces, welcoming you home to this familiar refuge. You cross the courtyard and enter your chamber, where your day's few remaining treasures rest upon the wooden table. The rosemary sprig, the glass shard, the sprig of mint, the folded cloth from Bethlehem's grotto, and the handful of fig-scented water in its small cup. Kneeling beside the table, you arrange each gently an altar to the journey you have completed. You press your palm to the cool stone of the windowsill, and then to the wood of your splinter, feeling their steady pulse echo your own. Your mind drifts through the pages of each day, the hush of prayer under vaulted arches, the soft murmur of springs in hidden glades, the taste of citrus, dripping bright on your tongue, the warmth of shared meals and new friendships. With a quiet smile, you rise and slip on your light cloak, its folds soft as a lullaby. Outside, the courtyard's lanterns glow like fireflies in early morning's mist. You step onto the worn flagstones and let them guide you toward the city gate one last time. Passing beneath the Lion's Gate, you feel the ancient stones whisper their blessings. Beyond the walls, the hills roll in velvety waves beneath a sky brushed with dawn's rose and gold. You pause on the ridge, letting the panorama fill your senses. Jerusalem's towers, Bethlehem's distant walls, the olive-studded slopes you once traversed. The world seems held in a perfect hush, as if time itself has paused for your farewell. From your pouch, you draw the smooth river stone and cradle it in both hands. It feels cool yet comforting, a vessel of every mile walked. You lift it to your lips and whisper a prayer of gratitude to the land, to the spirits of its stones, to the countless souls whose footsteps long preceded yours. Tucking the stone into your tunic, you reach next for the wooden splinter, pressing it gently over your heart. You close your eyes, recalling the gentle weight of faith that carried you across each dawn and dusk. This fragment of the true cross, blessed by hands long since passed into eternity, has been your silent companion and your gentle guide. When you open your eyes, you find yourself at a small garden just outside the gate, its walls thick with jasmine vines and blossom. Petals drift on the breeze like soft snow, and the air is perfumed with their sweetness. In the center, a simple fountain murmurs over low stones, its water catching morning light in 1,000 flickers. You approach and kneel at the fountain's edge, cupping its water in your hands. You lift it to your lips in one final taste of Jerusalem's blessing cool, pure, carrying the memory of every hidden spring you have known. Then, gathering a few petals that have settled on the stone, you press them into the palm of your hand and fold them into your cloak. Rising, you sit on a low bench beneath an arch of olive and jasmine. Your breath slows to match the fountain's rhythm. Inhale with a murmur. Exhale with the hush of petals drifting around you. You feel the day's journey converge here, at this intersection of stone and blossom and water. A gentle stirring at the gate draws your gaze. The innkeeper appears, his eyes warm with a kind farewell. He offers you a small bread roll still warm, and you accept, pressing your fingertips into its soft crust. You tear off a piece, savoring its plain, honest flavor, a taste of home and nourishment for the road ahead. With that simple gift, you rise and step once more beneath the gate's threshold. Your steps carry you through Jerusalem's quiet streets, past doorways where lanterns have just been lit, past arches where morning glows in stained glass. Each corner turned feels like a gentle benediction, a soft urging forward toward new horizons beyond these ancient stones. The road beyond the city winds through olive groves you have come to know so well. Wild thyme perfumes the air, and the hills rise and fall like a sleeping sea. You breathe in deeply, filling your lungs with the earth song one last time, and hold that breath, that memory, close to your heart. As you descend the hill, the morning light warms your face. In your mind's eye, you see the faces of those who met you with open hands, the baker in the village, the nun in the courtyard, the shepherd on the ridge. Their kindness has become part of you, woven into the fabric of your memories like golden thread. At the valley's bottom, you reach the place where your pilgrimage first turned eastward, where long ago you pressed your hand to the ancient stones and whispered a prayer for faith to guide you. Now you press your palm there once more, closing your eyes and offering thanks for every step, every whisper, every gentle wonder. When you lift your hand, you find a small pebble lodged between the stones, smooth, dark, shaped perfectly by time. You pocket it, a final treasure of the road, a talisman of return and renewal. Turning away, you begin the journey home, wherever home may be. With each step, you carry the hush of Jerusalem, the murmur of fountains, the hush of chapels, the whisper of jasmine petals on the breeze. You carry the weight of the river stone and the splinter over your heart. You carry the kindness of strangers and the blessing of each sacred site. And though this is our last chapter together, the story continues in your bones, in your breath, and in the soft echo of every memory you carry forth. May peace walk beside you as faithfully as you have walked these ancient stones. May your heart remain open to wonder, your spirit anchored in faith, and your footsteps always guided by kindness. Farewell, dear pilgrim. May your journey onward be gentle, and may the hush of this timeless land forever whisper in your soul. The end.